Now, a prominent Republican says that Donald Trump is struggling at doing a job he neither understood and still doesn't understand, nor realized that he would ever get. Now, this is from Michael Steele, who is the former chairman of the Republican National Committee. So he was rather powerful in his day. Now, he talked to ABC News. Now, this is like an Australian version of ABC News. While he was down there in Australia. And of course, Trump had a kind of a little bit of an infamous phone call with Malcolm Turnbull, who happens to be the Prime Minister of Australia, where basically they kind of yelled at each other during the phone call. Super hilarious. Now, anyway, so Michael Steele talks to ABC News and he says, hey, look, man, Trump, he's having some issues. He's having a real big problem with the transition between being, a businessman and a reality TV star, and going from that to becoming president of the United States, being essentially a politician. So, yeah, he seems to be having a few problems with that transition about 7 months in still. Well, it turns out nobody knew being president would be complicated, right? Now, Steele further explains that he believes that Trump is used to getting his way. And so far as president, he has not been getting his way on a lot of issues. He said, quote, not everyone listens to you just because you're president. He's got to deal with that, and he doesn't quite yet know how to do that. As I said, you've had quite a while, half a year. You think that you would get it by now. But no, turns out, again, nobody knew being president would be so complicated. I didn't know that I would actually have to do politics and agree with people and, actually show leadership instead of just ordering somebody to do stuff. Like he ordered Reince Priebus to go and swat flies for him and all that stuff. No, it turns out you actually have to be somewhat diplomatic when you're a president, and you have to make trade-offs and sacrifices and be diplomatic, as I've said. And actually try to work with people to get things done. You can't just strong-arm your way through politics. That's not what politics is about. But he doesn't understand that. Again, he's a child. Now, Steele continues. You have 535 members of Congress who have a different view. You have cabinet secretaries who, while they might work for you, still carry out different agendas. Oh, and he does not like that, by the way. That's why he insists on people being loyal to him. But anyway, he says you've also got the voters, the press, and all those interests out there who have a say about what you just said, and that's not something Donald deals with too well. Yeah, we kind of tell from those late night 3 a.m. tweet storms from Trump saying, oh my God, dishonest media, fake news. They're terrible. They are the enemy of the American people. And this goes out to all the losers and haters out there that are sad babies. Yeah, no, he handles it super well. What are you talking about, Jeff? That's what a leader does. And that's basically, and look, I had a problem with this, right? Whenever Trump did something that was not insane, the media was like, oh my God, look at Donald. This is the day he became president, when he decided not to shit himself in front of everyone else. So presidential. So presidential. Oh, come on. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. This guy's not presidential. He's an idiot. He doesn't deserve that seat of power. Yet somehow, of course, he is in that seat of power, arcane institution of the, of course, Electoral College, which once again has robbed the American people of what they actually wanted. But anyway, so all this, basically, Michael Steele is saying, oh, you mean he's basically not a politician? Well, we already knew that. Strange thing is that for some people, that was actually a draw. But it turns out you kind of actually have to be a little bit of a politician to know what the fuck you're doing and to actually get things done. You kind of have to work with people in politics. They don't all just follow you just because you're the president. But anyway, now, on that, Trump, I mean, look, he's used to having an environment where basically you tell someone to do something and they do it. But the other thing is that people, okay, so I know I'm like, going from topic to topic here, and I'm kind of switching gears a little fast because my brain's like going haywire today. But the other thing about being in that environment is, wasn't that the kind of environment that's good for a deal maker? Somebody who, has to go and work with other people in order to hammer out deals and different things on policy. He's supposed to be the deal maker. That's why another reason a lot of people voted for him. Oh, he's not a politician. He's not your standard politician, which is true. And it turned out to be a big detriment for him. But also, they said, well, he's a good deal maker. He's going to be able to make great deals for America. Well, what deals is he actually doing for America? Nothing, really. There are no good deals. There's nothing going on. Except for lots and lots of golf. And as far as being a good businessman, right? Look, he's not a good deal maker, and he's also not a good businessman. Again, he's gone bankrupt numerous times from all the shitty deals. And look, he's had to get bailed out all the time from his daddy. That's not the mark of a good businessman. What that is that it's a mark of a classic spoiled rich kid who doesn't understand how the world works and how politics is. In his world, it's I'm the boss. You listen to me. If you don't listen to me, you're going to get fired. In fact, Michael Steele goes into that. He says, when he said he wanted something done at Trump Tower, it got done. No one said, no, sir, I really don't think we should do that. Because if you did, you didn't come into work the next day, as there was no job. That's not the way Washington works, and it's certainly not the way the presidency works. And again, that's one of the many reasons why I hate the idea of, hey, maybe we should get a businessman to run the government like a business. No, look, that doesn't work because those two things they're not the same. And I shouldn't have to explain that because they don't work the same. Politics, of course, requires compromise, requires working with others. You can't go around making all unilateral decisions and firing people who disagree with you because they're not sucking up to the boss. You actually have to, again, be bipartisan. You actually have to learn how to work with people. Now, Trump, he thinks that's how it works, and that's why he doesn't get it. And look, you can understand. So say you hire some other business person, right, to be president of the United States. I know hire is a strange word for it, elect. But basically, we're saying, hey, run the country and represent us. So in a sense, you are actually like hiring them in a certain, it depends on how you look at it. But anyway, so say you elect somebody who's only, not in politics, but he was in business, ran a successful business. Well, that person still has the capacity to learn. So some, like when Donald Trump came into office, some might have thought, okay, look, he's new at this, but he's got the capacity to learn. 7 months later, he has shown that he has zero capacity to learn and zero willingness to learn. That's problematic. And look, why doesn't he learn? It's because he doesn't care to learn. Mr. Steele said that Mr. Trump was basically focused not on doing a good job, not on learning how to do a good job, but basically on how he looked to others. Quote, this is who he is. This is a guy obsessed with his own self-image, how his numbers are doing, whether everything is playing to a narrative he has developed in his own head. Again, that's coming from a fellow Republican, former leader of the Republican National Committee. This is a guy who's like, yeah, no, the dude, he's obsessed with himself. That's all he's obsessed with. Whether or not he's winning or whether or not something looks good for him or looks bad for him. He's only obsessed with looking good, with his own self-image. And look, that's why there have been reports of insiders saying that, yeah, what we do, like, we can't get Donald Trump to go and actually pay attention to policy papers. So what we've had to do is we've had to, put his name throughout the papers just to get him to pay attention. That's so incredibly sad. But again, that's who this guy is. Now, as far as the narrative, that narrative is, hey, I'm awesome, I'm Trump, I do no wrong. Everybody else does wrong. In fact, I'm the victim here. Talk about the snowflake victim mentality. Donald Trump lives in that snowflake victim mentality world. Because in his world, he cannot do any wrong. He doesn't apologize for messing up. He doesn't acknowledge any mistakes. No, it's always like, no, you're fake, you're lying, the media is terrible, all the politicians are terrible, I'm the greatest, and everything that I say is right. And if you say that I'm lying, I'm not actually lying, it's you who are the liar. That's what this is about. That's who he is. Now, interestingly enough, they asked Steele about, hey man, okay, so with everything that's going on with the investigations, Mueller is actually looking into Donald Trump's corruption. This has gone far beyond Russia, or just, the election itself. Well, do you think that Donald Trump is actually going to be here for the entire term? Now, he said, I think the president will be here for as long as he wants to be here. At the end of the day, he's going to control a lot more than people hope. He's not going anywhere. Well, on that, we'll see what happens. Now, I think that there is a very slim chance when it comes to impeachment. And look, I know when I say that, I crush dreams and hopes of a lot of people. But seriously, Mike Pence, that's what we're going to get if that happens. But look, right now, even if you're in favor of impeachment and like, okay, we can weather Mike Pence. Again, I disagree with that. I think Mike Pence would actually be worse because he's actually more competent. But at the same time, okay, as far as impeachment goes, well, we need evidence. We need a lot more evidence. And look, Mueller, as I said, he's putting together a case. He's putting together a team, and they're actually expanding it to look into Donald Trump's financial corruption. That's sort of a big deal. But nonetheless, long shot when it comes to possible impeachment. Okay. So, I largely agree with Michael Steele here. Trump, he's not going to leave. He's not one to really back down. And for now, look, hey, that could change. But it seems very, very unlikely that he will either leave or get removed. The only hope is that the Democrats are, smart enough to actually put up somebody to, beat him in 2020. Somebody that can actually win. Maybe somebody that, with a name that rhymes like, or rhymes with Ernie Banders or something like that. I don't know. Somebody to think of, right? Is there somebody that just happens to be the most popular politician in America that happens to be somebody who's Democratic aligned? Maybe somebody who ran for president on the Democratic ticket back in 2016? Or, ran in the primary to be the Democratic nominee? But look, again, he's not going anywhere. As far as I can tell, right now, at this moment, that could change. But again, unlikely. Now, we have been seeing recently some interesting things on that. Some GOP members start to defect. Now, if that changes and a majority of the Republicans, the GOP, defects, well, then we've got a different story. Or if the Democrats manage to take both the House and the Senate by wide majorities, then, okay, that could also change. I don't know the likelihood of that. It all depends, really, on the Democrats and what kind of candidates they run in 2018. And Justice Democrats and these other groups are actually trying to, do something to make it more likely for a Democratic victory. But we'll have to see how that shakes out. But for right now, again, I agree with Michael Steele. He ain't going nowhere. And so, sad. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.